All right, so it's actually 2 days later because my control arms didn't come yesterday. So I'm putting brand new upper control arms while I'm doing the front suspension here. So I was waiting on that before I could toss the Tundra struts in. Don't judge me too much, but I did order these off Amazon. They're a little on the cheaper side, so we will see how long these bushings last. I'm kind of worried about it, but at the same time, I do have those other control arms still. All right, let's see what we got here. So these had pretty good reviews, so that's why I got them. And I'll show you why I actually bought new ones. So here's the old ones. So the nut somehow stripped on the ball joint, so I had to cut these off. So that's the whole reason why I bought new ones, because I couldn't get that nut off. And then I ended up stripping the inside out where the Allen wrench goes. So it's easier just to buy new ones and cut those ones. I'll keep those around so I can replace the ball joints in them at some point, but I'm just gonna replace them and call it a day. So another reason I got these ones is they're the forged steel ones. The other ones I had on there were the stamped ones, so I wanted to try these ones on the lift instead of the stamped ones. So if you look here, this is the stamped one, and then this is the supposed forged. I don't know if it's technically forged, but it's one solid piece compared to these ones. These are definitely heavier, so I'm hoping they're a little bit more heavy duty. And I figured, see this like little lip here? This would always rub on my coil spring, and this doesn't have it, so I'm hoping that gives me a little bit more clearance inside there as well. It's kind of why I wanted to try these ones instead. All right, the moment of truth on whether the Tundra strut fits in here good or not. So we'll see. All right. All right, so I know you guys are thinking, how am I gonna line up this hole with that one? So we got these all sort of tightened up, not all the way though, but my plan is to compress the shock only to lift it up and then line up these holes. It does look like it's too long, but since I did put the lowering spring in here, I'm hoping it'll compress enough to line up those holes. All right, so this might be a little sketchy, but my plan here is to set this right on the bolt, compress the shock, and then line up these two holes by pushing down on here. So we'll see how that goes. Perfect. All right, and there we go. So I'm pretty much maxing out these control arms as far as they can go at this point. But now I just have to put a jack under here and jack it up so this can meet it, and we'll see how it all goes together. I'm hoping it's not straining everything too hard. Guess we'll find out. Like I said, it's all trial and error. If this doesn't work, it doesn't work, you know. I'll just go back to the 95-04 Tacoma because I know that works. I just wanted to try a newer Bilstein shock off of a newer Tundra because I use the older shock, so why not try a newer one, you know? These have like 1,500 miles on them. brand spanking new Bilsteins, so I guess we'll find out. All right, so a quick little update here. So I got the whole shock compressed a little bit just so I could get the upper control arm in there. Then I just need to tighten that nut. Got the brakes thrown back on. Then I just need to tighten up those two, this one, and the lower bolt here. And then I can lower it down and see what happens. Hopefully nothing happens or gets ripped out. You know, it is what it is if it happens. So I know this is gonna be straining pretty hard, so kind of already is. I hope it'll be fine. All right, as you can see here, I got it all buttoned up. So this ball joint is a little concerning, but that's about how the last ones were, so I'm not too worried about it. But I was right on this. There's a little bit more room here. Before, this would touch the spring and it would kind of rub on it. So that's kind of nice with these steel control arms. Yeah, it's all in, all bolted up. Now I'm gonna let it down and see if anything happens. Oh geez, good thing I caught that. All right. Nice. Sweet. All right, now just for fun, let's see how far it drops. I'm hoping it's around the same height. Sweet. All right, so now we're to the other side here. Gotta throw the upper control arm in first and then finesse the Tundra strut in there somehow, just like we did the other side. You guys have had this question before, but if you lift your car, it's always easier to put the bottom in first, then put the top in. So I'll kind of show you guys that. Once again, I'm going to show you guys how I use the jack to compress the shock a little bit so I can get the bolt through. I'm hoping doing this way it doesn't put too much tension on everything, but that's the only way I can get it to work. Like I said, if this thing falls apart later down the road, then so be it, but this is all experimental. So let's go ahead and get that lower bolt in, and then we can get everything else buttoned up. Finally. And who's coming? Peekaboo. But yeah, no more squeaks, that's for sure. So that'll be nice. You farting? You farting? One inconvenience is the steel ones don't come with the holes like the stamped ones, so you can't put these back on, but nothing a little zip tie can't fix. So I just went through and checked all my nuts and bolts, make sure they're all tight, and let's get the wheel on. So I just wanted to show you guys once more here. So even at full extension, these don't touch the springs, unlike the stamped ones. So that's really nice. But I still plan on getting the, I forget who makes them, but he flips these steel control arms around and puts the ball joint in backwards. So this angle is upside down, so it's a little bit better angle for the ball joint. I still plan on getting those at some point, but just so long as these hold up, I'll keep these on here. All right, we got the wheel on, everything's all buttoned up. Now I'm gonna do a little drop test off the jack here. I already can tell it's gonna ride so much better. It's not as stiff as I thought it was gonna be, so that's nice. But yeah, got it all buttoned up. Just look how much nicer that looks. Now I got Toyota Bilsteins front and rear. Now it's time to go test it out. So I'm glad it like kind of kept the same height as those Tacoma ones. Since we got the car idling here, I just want to show you guys. So now we got the rear Toyota Bilstein. And now the fronts. Got the 22 to 24 Bilstein strut and rear shock off of a Tundra. Let me know if you guys think it looks like worth the work, or if you just think it's a waste of time. Like I said, it didn't really raise it anymore, which I'm happy about, because those control arms are pretty maxed out already. So if I were to guess, it's probably around a 3-inch lift total, even after cutting the Moog spring a little bit. So I'll be curious to know how it rides now. I just took it onto the street and backed up, and it already feels a lot like planted, if that makes any sense. But I'm curious how it reacts off-road, so that's gonna be my big concern. But if my wife's up to it, we might go hit up some trails tonight. We'll see. But yeah, now that that's over, now I can get focused on wiring up the light pods, which I've been dreading, to be honest, because it's a lot of work to wire up all the switch panels to every single light. So it's gonna be kind of a pain. If you guys thought that was helpful or want to try it yourself, give me a thumbs up, comment down below what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.